Josh Levis from Hebrew Academy. How many students are in the pre-collegiate learning center this year, and how many staff members are you employing?
Right now we have 20 students, and it's at a 1-to-1 ratio. I keep telling prospective parents that's not something that you can count on lasting forever. It happens to be the way it is, because we just need staff as part of it.
Any other questions? Going once? Yes, there's
you mentioned both times you raised that online learning lends itself to differentiation. You also mentioned particularly with students who struggle in a particular discipline. Can you speak a little bit more about that, and how online learning particularly lends itself to that kind of differentiation?
Well, it's really terrific because on the one hand, it allows the opportunity, particularly at the higher end, for students to proceed at their own pace and to learn things that they're interested in. And, for example, we had one student this year who's in AP biology. So in a normal situation, she just wouldn't be able to take AP biology, but because we're using a distance course for her, she can take AP biology, which is very nice. At the sort of lower end, we're able to sort of divide kids out into smaller groups and give them the learning that's appropriate. Maybe they need to go a little slower in certain areas, or retake tests or things like that, or maybe there's a student who a certain type of, the general type of learning doesn't work for, maybe to learn something more. Some students learn more visually, some people learn auditorily. We can sort of use the appropriate technology for them, and we'll keep trying different things until something works. One, very sort of specific example is we have one student who's pretty severely dyslexic. He just really can't write anything down for whatever reason. And so we encouraged her and her family to work with Dragon Speak until they got it to work. And now she can basically recite anything she wants to write into Dragon Speak and turn in beautiful papers along with everybody else. So there's a lot of different things out there in the greater world where you can, once you sort of look at each student individually and know really what they need, there's different things out there that you can generally apply.
yes.
Rachel, you mentioned near the beginning, I think I got this right, that none of this is proven anywhere. You said something to that effect. And my question is, did you mean within the day school world or within the general educational world? In other words, where are we in terms of the efficacy of blended?
So, unfortunately, I meant in the general world, right? There is not yet a lot of data about online learning. There is some. INIC poll has whatever there is on their website, so if you're interested in really learning about this more, you can access a lot of the data online. There is some data that shows that students who are working on online courses do actually do better on achievement tests than non. But again, also I should say, a lot of what's being done in the general world is not of a similar population for a lot of compared to our day school students, right? A lot of what's being funded as beginning initiatives in the general population is for low-income students, what they call credit recovery, right? Students who didn't pass the course the first time. A lot of the data that's being collected is about pass rates and completion rates. That's not so, I don't find it so interesting or germane to our needs, right? So what we want to know is how engaged are the students online, right? Not just are they passing, right? Most of our students pass their courses. So we're going to need to do our own data collection to understand really what it means for the general community. And there is clearly going to be work being done in the day school community, and there's going to continue to be more data collection in the general community, and to watch that as well.
Mark Lepman from Peach. Have you done any studies what's available in Israel, being one of the high-tech centers of the world, and the modern yeshiva movement of the public school, Mamlakti Dati, I'm talking about Mamlakti Dati, that be exported possibly with help of the Israeli government, although I don't want to become a political football. But one way that the Jewish agencies could possibly get involved to use it for a lot of its worthwhile and you could take advantage of.
So our Avi Chai's Educational Technology Director is based in Israel. His name is Eli Kanai. We have not done a formal study of what's available. He's certainly very knowledgeable about what's available, which is how he ended up at Tel Aviv University. They run a program for the gifted student in Israel that is based online. I think a lot of these leaders might agree with me that a lot of the curriculum that's created in Israel is not necessarily easily transferable to day schools here. Obviously, all things are worth finding out. That I do not think that Israel is so far ahead of where the United States is in terms of curriculum available online. So it's not like they have a tremendous wealth of people on.
Yeah, I would just add that a lot of the online material in this country has come out of the homeschool
Ariev Gellman from New York. Just a question: if the has the ability, assuming that online education goes to its logical conclusion, perhaps one can fulfill their secular studies fully online, even with a coach or a facilitator, a master teacher in the room. What are the tax ramifications in terms of perhaps tuition wouldn't have to be billed as tuition anymore? Has there been research on that? Where it can then move into a shul and do pay, perhaps tax deductible type of payment?
Interesting. No, we haven't, I don't know of any thought that's been given to that yet. There is, I should say, a model in LA. It's not been mentioned here today, right? There is a yeshiva called Ohad Shalom, I believe. It's a boys' high school, and they are doing all their general studies online in the same building where they attend yeshiva in the morning. They're enrolled in a full-time program, but I do not know what they are doing about tuition. Right, for tuition, they're in an online charge. But I think Arya was asking, with the part that you do pay as tuition, still for your Judaic studies, could that no longer count as tuition, but could it become tax deductible in some way? So I don't know if they've done anything about it, and I don't know any research about it, but that could be a next step for us to look into.
So question about hearing up there.
One concern that I've heard expressed is if you take a kid in a typical high school and then something they're doing AP bio online as opposed to the class, and some parents who got their tuition bill at the beginning of the year say, well, I'm not getting as much service now, so perhaps you should give me a reduction in fees.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm saying more for the traditional schools who are experimenting around the edges, has that been something that they had to deal with?
So we haven't heard that yet from any of the schools in the digital pay learning network as a particular challenge. Again, they're just at the beginning of their experimenting. Part of the reason that we're trying to make them into a network is so we will learn about different challenges that the schools face. I think part of the work of implementing this is about education and advocacy, not only to the people in the schools, but to parents, right? And for schools to be able to explain what this means to parents, why it's possible that the teacher that they are getting in the online course that they're taking might actually be able to give them more attention than the teacher that they might have had in the school setting. Not 100% all the time, but it's not, that argument from the parent is not 100% correct, obviously. And so schools need to learn how to answer those comments.
Right, and I would also say that I think from a parent's perspective, that they understand that if their child is getting a really good course and their tuition isn't going up, I think a lot of parents are very grateful for that.
There are last questions. Yes, just wait for the mic. Maybe Catherine Page. I just want to ask you a question as follow-up to yesterday's conversation with Lorraine. Because they raised the question, in their opinion, that online learning was not conducive to a better common relationship. That, in fact, we need to see good teachers, model him, etc. They give very concrete examples and seem to be casting aspersions, if you will, maybe that's too strong a word, on online learning as a mechanism, certainly for Limuday Kodesh. So I just wonder what the response to that would be, because that was a very clear message sent yesterday.
I think that's a great question. I think that, again, the blended learning model, right? The blended learning model allows for face-to-face time with exactly those kinds of people, right? The part we're not going to take away when we employ blended learning is the part that's most important to us as day school parents, which is the relationship with a Mora or a Rebbe or a role model or, that person who's the director of, Shabbatons. There's still, hopefully, I think, there's still going to be all that in a blended learning model, right? You might decide to take Ivrit online because Ivrit doesn't need that kind of connection. Or actually, if Ivrit is really important to you and you think the relationship with that Hebrew speaker in your classroom is very important, then that's not going to be speaker online. This kind of model is modular, and you can retain whatever you feel is most important to you as valued in your day school, and I would say the part that's not important, but the part that could be delivered just as well by an online teacher, and there will be at the day school conference, the National Online Teacher of the Year, who I saw her at Ivy College. She's an amazing person, and if my students, if a student in my school could learn with a teacher like that, I would value it. Then you, in theory, you're getting the best of both. That's how I view it right now. Now, I would say again, this hasn't been tested extensively yet. But if we don't even open our mind to experimenting with it, then I think we're cutting off, a great possibility for the notion of cost cutting that we're all here.
Okay, so thank you both very much for your time. Thank you for your